A private party is thrown by Pina in the imperial capital, which is attended by a group of senators and their families, led by Lord Cicero. They witness the weapons demonstrations of the Third Recon and realize the futility of fighting the Japanese, leading Lord Cicero to seek negotiations for peace. However, Crown Prince Zorzal, Pina's older brother, finds out about the meeting and heads there with his entourage to confront the senators for treason. Itami's scouts spot the prince approaching, and the Third Recon helps the senators escape undetected before he arrives. Mari uses her nursing skills to aid locals who come to the outpost in Akusha, the capital's red light district, where she joins the JSDF team stationed there. While Itami, Shino and Akira stay at Pina's palace, Yao tries to learn about the people who are important to Itami from a local. Meanwhile, the demi-human prostitutes warn Mari of an earthshake that they sense is coming. Naeya Tabaru, the commanding officer at the outpost, recognizes it as a sign similar to how animals on Earth can detect earthquakes before they occur and warns the soldiers in the special region to evacuate the civilians before the earthquake begins. Pina invites Sugawara, Itami, Shino, and Akira to the Imperial Palace to seek advice on how to handle earthquakes from her father, the Emperor. However, Zorzal also shows up to warn his father of another earthquake predicted by his slave, Noriko, who is surprisingly revealed as a Japanese citizen to the Japanese delegates and Pina. Itami gets angry with Zorzal's cruel treatment of Noriko and punches him, rescuing the girl. Shino shoots down Zorzal's bodyguards when they try to attack, and Itami and Shino torture Zorzal for information about other Japanese captives until they are stopped by Tyoyul, Zorzal's other slave. Sugawara warns the Emperor of the consequences if the kidnapped Japanese citizens are not returned before leaving, and Japan launches an air strike on the Imperial Senate building as a further message to make peace. Meanwhile, Tyoyul treats Zorzal's wounds, and his younger brother, Diabo, learns that their father intends to make Zorzal his heir, believing he can control him from the shadows once he abdicates. Noriko arrives at the JSDF illness base, hoping to return to Japan, unaware that her parents died during the Ginza incident. Tuka, on the other hand, continues her fruitless search for her father. Diabo and Pina discover that Zorzal has been named the official heir to the throne and won't become a puppet for his father, who they know has plans in motion. However, they are unaware that Tyoyul is manipulating Zorzal to seek revenge against the Empire and destroy it by framing Pina for Noriko's death. Yanagita urges Itami to travel to the Elbe Kingdom and slay the Fire Dragon, but Itami refuses because he does not want to risk his soldiers' lives. Tuka becomes insane and believes Itami is her father after Yao reveals the truth about her father's death at the hands of the Fire Dragon. Yao begs Itami to assist her people, even if it means hurting those close to him. To pacify Tuka, Itami pretends to be her father, but her madness continues to grow. After speaking with King Duran of Elbe, who is recovering at illness, Itami decides to help Tuka face and avenge the Fire Dragon, which he hopes will cure her of her delusions. Itami departs for Elbe with Tuka, Rory, Lely, and Yao in a Humvee filled with supplies provided by Yanagita, rather than traveling to the imperial capital with his men. Delilah, the warrior bunny who works at the bar in Illness refugee town, is ordered by her masters, the formal clan, to assassinate Noriko, but the orders were actually forged by Tyoyul, the former queen of her tribe, without Delilah's knowledge. General Hazama forms a task force to help Itami fight the Fire Dragon after learning of his quest to Elbe. Yanagita and King Duran make a deal to allow the JSDF to cross the Elbe Kingdom. However, Delilah's assassination attempt on Noriko fails when Yanagita discovers them, and they end up injuring each other during the fight. The JSDF investigates the assassination attempt and discovers that the formal clan butler forged the letter under orders from Zorzal's faction. To obtain more information, Furuta Hidoshi, one of Itami's soldiers, goes undercover as a chef in the capital and gains Zorzal's favor. Meanwhile, Itami's group arrives at Yaz village where Yao goes to greet her people. However, while Itami and the others are surrounded by a group of Dark Elf guards, the Fire Dragon suddenly appears. Itami and his group, accompanied by Dark Elf volunteers, move towards the Fire Dragon's nest in the mountains, where they plant a fragmentation bomb under the nest with the help of magic and C4. But their plan is foiled when the Fire Dragon appears, killing most of the Dark Elves. During the battle, Tuka finally accepts that her father is dead, and uses lighting magic to ignite the C4, killing the fire dragon. As they try to leave the mountain, they find Rory badly hurt after fighting with Giselle, another apostle who had used the fire dragon's hatchlings to capture Rory for her patron, Artie. Giselle's dragons chase after Itami and his group, but the JSDF task force arrives and kills the dragons, making Giselle retreat. Itami is disciplined for leaving his post to fight the fire dragon, but is shortly afterward praised by various individuals for his bravery and is assigned a new mission to explore for resources with Lely, Rory, Tuka and Yao. The group travels to the magic city of Rondel, where Lely plans to make a presentation to her fellow magicians that could earn her the rank of master, and where they come across Lela's elder sister Arpeggio and her mentor Mimosa La Mer. Meanwhile, in the imperial capital, official peace talks begin between Japan and the Empire, much to Zorzel's frustration as the attempt to assassinate Noriko and blame Pina for it has failed to derail the negotiations. While everyone is celebrating the death of the fire dragon, the Emperor learns that Lely, an imperial citizen, was also involved in its defeat, which pleases him. However, the Emperor suddenly falls ill after drinking wine that was secretly poisoned under Choyul's orders. Zorzel takes control of the throne and vows to seek revenge against Japan while the Emperor is bedridden. The JSDF forces in Akusha are trapped as the imperial capital is under curfew and the Japanese ambassadors are put under house arrest. Zorzel has the pro-peace faction arrested and plans to attack the Japanese using unethical tactics, causing Pina to be furious. Her brother Diabo has left to seek help from more powerful forces to overthrow Zorzel. In Rondel, Mimosa informs Itami and his group that the gate opens every few centuries or millenniums, allowing other races to settle in the special region. Arpeggio is angry that Lely has surpassed her in every aspect, so they have a magic duel, which is interrupted by an assassin sent by Zorzel. Gray and Shandy reveal that they were sent by Pina to protect Itami's group, but Itami decides to flee instead of fighting. Zorzel's secret police are arresting the pro-peace faction for treason in the capital as Itami and his group try to evade the assassins. Despite the situation, the Japanese government orders not to interfere and refuse sanctuary for the pro-peace faction. Marquis Kaisel seeks refuge with the Thierry family, but the Oprichnina attack their home, causing Sherry's parents to sacrifice themselves to stop them. Sherry helps Kaisel escape, and they head to the Jade Palace, the Japanese embassy under the Rose Knight's protection, seeking asylum. Although Sherry wants Sugawara's help, he adheres to his country's orders to not get involved. However, when the Oprichnina arrests Kaisel and Sherry, Sugawara decides to take Sherry into his custody, leading to a fierce battle between the Rose Knights and the Oprichnina. Despite the event, Vice Minister Shirayuri approves it and contacts her government. The Rose Knights successfully repel the Oprichnina and release Senator Kaisel, which causes an increase in tension between Japan and the Empire. Minister Kanu and other government members propose evacuating the Japanese delegation from the Jade Palace, but Prime Minister Morita rejects the idea due to ongoing visits from other nations and the media in the special region and the illness camp. Having no control of the situation could damage Japan's diplomatic reputation. However, the situation worsens when Zorzel has Pina arrested for refusing to order the Rose Knights to let his soldiers enter the palace. He then orders his army to besiege the embassy, which prompts Morita to authorize the JSDF's deployment to evacuate the ambassadors and political refugees. Meanwhile, in Rondel, Itami and his team thwart another assassination attempt and prepare to capture the Piper, the leader of the assassins sent to kill them. The Rose Knights successfully hold off the Imperial Army's attempts to breach the embassy, but the overwhelming enemy forces suggest that the Jade Palace's defeat is inevitable. Meanwhile, in Rondel, Shandy discovers the Piper's plan for another assassination attempt on Lely, prompting Itami and his team to prepare for a confrontation. During Lela's presentation, 2 more assassins make an attempt on her life, but Itami and the audience manage to stop them. Nevertheless, Shandy attempts to stab Lely at the last moment, but Lely is saved by the armor under her dress. Upon interrogation, Shandy confesses that the Piper threatened to harm Pina unless she killed Lely. As a result, Itami and his team decide to return to the imperial capital while the JSDF prepares for a major operation to break the siege of the Jade Palace. The assault on the imperial capital by the JSDF begins, resulting in the rescue of the pro-peace faction, the Rose Knights, and ambassadors from the Jade Palace. Boses and Beefeater also try to rescue Pina from the imperial palace, but the overwhelming numbers of the imperial army forced them to retreat with the evacuating JSDF. Meanwhile, Itami and his group hurry to reach the capital, while Tioyul encourages Zorzal to keep fighting since he still has Pina as a hostage. Itami and his team arrive at the imperial capital, where they are assisted by the rest of the 3rd Recon to rescue and evacuate Pina, Hamilton, and the Emperor. Meanwhile, Pina is brought before Zorzal in the throne room to be judged for treason, but Itami, Lely, and Rory intervene. Despite Zorzal summoning a giant ogre, it is quickly defeated and Zorzal is forced to relinquish Pina after Itami threatens him. With their mission accomplished, Itami and the others escape the capital as the imperial army is obliterated by modern weaponry. Realizing that Zorzal will never make peace with Japan, the emperor declares Pina his successor, despite it leading to a civil war between his children. Zorzal and his followers are driven out of the capital, with Zorzal swearing revenge against Japan and suffering from gun-related trauma. Although Thule accomplishes her goal of destroying the empire, she is seen crying. 10 days later in Italica, Pina is crowned as the crown princess of the empire, pledging to bring peace between the empire and Japan. Itami decides to skip the coronation to attend a doujin convention, but Lely, Tuka and Rory follow him and cause a commotion, leading to their apprehension by the police.